Give people a chance to get in. Oof, frustration. Frustration. Ooh, it's all good. We're here. Got internet issues, man. We acting. I don't know what's going on. It's all good. We're here now. Just gonna give a sec to get people to come in. We had some technical difficulties, as I'm sure y'all know, but we're figuring it out. Just want to give people a sec to get in. I'm sending it out to all the different platforms. Y'all can feel free to as well if you'd like. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. All right. All right, we're gonna start in about 1 minute. Just finishing out sending it to all the other ones. We'll use this as a lesson, important lesson. And that lesson is get over yourself. And I'll explain it later. Got the water in. All right, y'all about to see the greatest comeback ever. Y'all finna see the greatest comeback ever. Hold on, man. I feel like I need some tunes for a little sec to get the vibe going real quick. Hold on. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Take a deep breath. All right, so we're back. We're in the building. We're in the building. It's Hot Topic Friday, my favorite show. Having technical difficulties, but it is what it is. Got to push through, right? 37 minutes later, it is what it is. No excuses, no excuses. Still don't know what's going on, but it is what it is. Got to figure it out. Let me Actually, I kind of like this little setup right here. All right, so we'll keep this as is, and we're just gonna get into these topics. So today, what do we have? What do we have? Let me pull up the notes. I like having them on the phone as well as the computer. But we're gonna talk a little bit. We got taking a leap of faith. I got a question for y'all. Should you have a plan B? We're going to get into, there's something called the anti-diet movement. We'll get into that. We got a reading from the Law of Success, all right? And then we got a Philadelphia ski mask band. We got a few different things for y'all. We're going to go over everything. And appreciate you. Bro, let me get my book. And we were supposed to be outside today, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Hold on one second. Got the guys in the building. I'm feeling better. I got the guys in the building. All right. And what you think? All right, so real quick question. We'll start it off with this. Should you have a plan B? I put up a post about it yesterday, and I'm interested in getting people's feedback. Should you have a plan B? Got my bro Urs in the building. Alana's in the building. It's Mercury in retrograde. Yo, I don't know what's going on. It is what it is. We just got to push through. We got to push through. Oh, my plan A is my plan B. All right, so let's get to it. Let's get to it. Y'all giving me energy. I appreciate that. Y'all giving me energy. Let's get to it. So, all right. So I'm not sure if y'all saw the post yesterday, but I was trying to figure out if it makes sense to really have a plan B. I heard somebody talking, and I always grew up with the thought where it's like, you have football, but you need something to fall back on, and that'll be your plan B. Or football. What's so funny is, in my head, I really feel as if I always put football as my plan B. I don't know if that was the positive thing to do or the negative thing to do. I'm sure that it helped me in certain ways, but I'm also sure that it hindered me in certain ways. We're on the field. Hold on, let me see what Ant wrote. Ant will say, I'm Lana laughing. I will say my plan A does leave room for God. Be like water, let it flow. Okay. All right, so that's a little different than what I was asking. I'm more so asking in regards to comparing the plan A to the plan B. Like I said, growing up, always was taught don't put all your eggs in a football basket. You can get injured. Got to have something to fall back on. Okay. Totally understand that. If I could do it again, I would still have that particular mindset. Still want to make sure that I'm on top of things academically. Now, I don't think that as a football player, even if you're just focusing on being the best football player that you are, I don't think that you got to sacrifice the schoolwork. I actually think that excelling in school is going to help in a lot of different areas with football. For one, it's just another area to compete in. It's just another area to compete in. So to compete at the highest levels in anything that you're doing, it's going to help to compete in other things, even if that's outside of that particular realm. Just my opinion. I'm not putting all my eggs in no football basket. If I could do it again, I'm telling you, I still wouldn't. I see a lot of guys that have done that. It's almost, I guess you have to factor in the chances of what particular outcome you're looking for. Okay, so Ant wrote, do you think athletes should leave school to go pro? Yes. If you have the opportunity to go pro, leave. I would say that. But I don't think that, because I think that at that particular age, now you're in a position where your work has provided you and afforded you opportunities that you can capitalize on and make a decision. Now, having that mindset in elementary school, middle school, and even high school, I think that can hinder the development of an athlete in other areas that they're going to need in life regardless. You know what I mean? And to me, it's too much of a lottery. It's too much of a lottery to just bank everything on, let's say, football or sports. Now, if you're plan A, think about it like this, because sports is really, I think if we get away from thinking about it from a sports standpoint, it may make more sense. If somebody was solely focused on, I'm just becoming a doctor, That's my plan A. That's what I'm locked in on, focused on. We would say, like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I don't think as many people would say, well, hey, don't put all your eggs in one basket. You may want to also study a little bit on being a teacher as well. No, if you're studying to be a doctor, you should go all in with being a doctor. Why? Because you have to, it's a very competitive industry that if you're not all in, then you're not going to be able to, in my opinion, get the return because your investment is not going to be as strong. Hold on. Let me see. Ant wrote, because I feel like you're going pro, you should be in a position to earn a really good income to invest in plan B. Yeah, and investing from the plan A, like that's still part of the plan A. You know what I'm saying? You still need the plan A to happen. But I'm more so looking at it as there's going to be pros and cons of both. There's going to be pros and cons of both. And I guess the real question that we should be asking is, what are we investing in? What should our plan A be? Should our plan A be something where it's a lottery shot? Because when it comes to, let's say, playing professional sports, you have a small window. Every test is in real time. It's not like you can fail a test, whether you're trying to become an attorney, whether you're trying to become a teacher, whether you're trying to become a doctor, all these different things where you can take the test again. If you want to become a fitness instructor, you can take the test again. But when it comes to sports, it's real time. It's live. You can't go back and edit. You can't go back and retake the test, or not as much. You know what I mean? You usually have that short window that you got to hit. And if you don't, you're in trouble. So maybe the real question is, do we need to reevaluate a lot of our plan A's? Hold on. If we're talking about probability, I feel like plan A being a lottery shot is a bad plan. I agree. Because the only reason that we feel that we need a plan B is when our plan A is really not likely to happen. Other than that, like, why would you have a plan B? You know what I'm saying? So that's my mindset. I guess it gives us something to think about, and just us unpacking it right then and there, it forces me to ask that follow-up question where it's like, well, hey, the plan A, whether to have a plan B or not, may not be the most important question to ask. The most important question to ask is, how likely is this plan A to happen? Because there's a lot of people that go all in this particular area, but what is the percentage of the people that actually have a successful outcome compared to something else that may have a longer lifespan? For instance, you play football, average 3 years. You become a doctor, you can be in practice for 30, 40, 50 years. Same thing with an attorney, same thing with the teacher, same thing with maybe a fitness instructor, all these other different fields that we can excel in. So should sports never be a plan A? I guess that's a question. Should sports never be your plan A? I don't know. I got to think about that. I think sports is one where it requires some balance. I'm going to be honest. It requires some balance. And maybe that's why it's so hard, is because it's one of those areas that does require balance. Because if you're not excelling in other areas outside of sports, we see it all the time. You're gonna get yourself in some predicaments that you may be 27, 26, just got cut from a team. This is the first time you've been told you're not good enough to do something, and then you got to figure out another endeavor. And everything that you've been invested in has just been focused on football. So that's one of those good luck things. It's just like it's not like you're going to get some support. It's just more of those good luck. We wish the best for you. So let's move on to the next. I want to show y'all a couple different videos. Hold on. Which one we going to go to? All right. So we're going to ease into it. So I'm going to show y'all this Philadelphia situation. And then we're going to get into, I shouldn't say this is a serious topic, so I shouldn't say that we're going to get more into the serious topics, but I'm going to show you this video on this Philadelphia ski mask. Then I got a reading for y'all. Then we'll get into this new movement, the anti-diet movement, and in my opinion, how I think that they're really misleading and harming people, just like the good old pharmaceutical company and whoever, Food and Drug Administration, just like they do. So first, we got the Philadelphia ski mask ban. This was an interesting story that came across I think I just saw it. I may have just seen this one either last night or this morning, where apparently Philadelphia has banned ski mask. Opinion on some stuff. So here, let me share it with y'all real quick. Are y'all first and foremost, when you see somebody with a ski mask on, let's say you're in a, it doesn't matter whether you're in an urban area or country area, but when you see, hold on, my fault, hold on, I still got some comments, my bad, I'll go back to the last topic, 1 second, let me finish up on this. I didn't see the responses. So let me finish on this real quick. So Ant wrote, I think there's nothing wrong with sports being your plan A if your plan B strong as F. But I feel like to go pro, you have to be committed. That's the thing. How if your plan B is strong, doesn't that mean that you're making your plan A weaker? It's a pie. So when you give to one, you got to take from another. It's energy. Like we only have so much energy. It's like a checking account. If you take money out of it to give to something, that you got to take it from somewhere, right? So I don't know. It's one of those things where I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend, see, this is how I would position it. I would position it as, what is your goal? What is your professional goal? I wouldn't have sports as the professional goal. I would have sports, and maybe I looked at it like this, where I figured out a way in my head to see sports as preparing me for life in other areas. So sports, in my opinion, was damn near like my plan B. So the sports was my plan B, but it was a plan B that I understood the overall plan A, and it's a plan B that I'm. Is it possible to give more to your plan B than to your plan A, or does that make it a? I don't know, but in my head, at least this is how I tricked myself. Sports was always, I'm going to take it as far as I can. I want to be as competitive as possible, but I also want to prepare myself for if sports is not something that I'm able to retire off of. And in my head, I never thought that I would retire off of sports. But then I have to also be realistic with myself and say, like, damn, all this time I was programming myself to saying, hey, I'm probably not going to, I don't see myself having a long sports career. I just never did. And then what ended up happening, I didn't have a long sports career. So maybe if I would have shifted my mindset to having that, where it's like, nah, I'm playing for 10, 15 years. I'm going to be an all pro. I'm going to be a Hall of Fame player. Maybe if I would have had that mindset, things would have been different. I told y'all before, my main goal was just to make the team. So therefore, after I made the team, it kind of was a little bit of a letdown as far as the same effort. Like, it would have been hard to be locked in like that for an entire season, but you figure it out. Because the way that I was locked in during training camp, me just being honest, it was a different type of locked in than during the season. But I don't know. I don't know. I feel like areas like that, where that's what makes certain sports leagues so amazing, because they're competitive to the point where it's very hard to have a competitive edge and to be on point how you have to be on point for an entire football season. Preseason, when that's why for a lot of the older players, they don't really have to engage in as much in preseason. But just from a mental, I'm talking straight mental, I'm not even talking physical. The physical is a whole nother animal, but from a mental standpoint, it's very hard to be at that competitive level. It's like what, from August to January, beginning of August to the beginning of January, sometimes February for the playoffs, to be locked in with that mental mindset, that can be very tough when you're in the most competitive environment. And you know that any little bit of, you letting off the gas, somebody else is pressing it. So it could be tough. It could be tough, but it is what it is. Queez wrote, sports can be your plan A, but you definitely need a different plan B. NFL means not for long. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. Maybe plan A should be you. That's how I like to see it. Urs, that's how I like to see it. Plan A is me just being successful. And then there's a whole bunch of other areas that I'm going to feed in order to get there. So maybe it is just a mindset thing, because it is tough. Like putting all your eggs in one basket. Sports can be a vessel for a bigger plan A. I like that, Queez. I like that, Queez. I like that. I like that. All right, so we on the same point. We on the same page. All right, so moving on now. I got a question for y'all. If y'all are walking down the street, be real. Be real. And somebody's walking towards you with a ski mask. You can only see their eyes, just the slit of their eyes. How do you feel about that? Are you intimidated? Are you a little bit more on guard? Are you not going to say anything? Are you going to just tense up a little bit? Y'all know how it can be. I'm keeping it real. I'm keeping it real. We were driving last night, top down. We're in Miami. Depending on, you can go from being in Brickell to being in certain parts of Overtown where it's just like, hold up, it's a little different. They got some homeless villages pretty much, but it's just a different setting. And everybody likes to say like, I'll act the same. I'm going to act the same in this neighborhood. I'll act the same. There's certain places that you just going to be a little bit more on guard with. And people may not admit it, but it is what it is. You're doing it. So that's my question for y'all. Hold on. So Urs wrote, it depends on the body language. I don't feel anything, but I'm always on guard anyway. Body language definitely key. I don't like masks. I don't like that, bro. I honestly don't even like it from the perspective of me wearing a mask. Let's put it like this. Let's say I have on a mask and I'm walking through an urban black area. Let's say like when I'm working in the Bronx. Let's say that I have a mask on, but I just got on casual clothes. I don't want you to mistaken me for somebody else. You see the locks hanging out the mask. I want to see faces, bro. That from a mask standpoint, ski mask, even the mask that we were wearing, it was weird to me. I like to see people's faces, and I want people to see my face. So that's just, I'm definitely with that. But body language is key. Body language is key, but all of that, bro. I need to see. I don't know. I get ready to shimmy around the shit. Yo, it's a fact. Yo, you're making certain adjustments. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it's not for everybody. But you guys take a look at this video. You tell me what you think. Hold on, let me run.
Sometimes people don't want to be seen. Sometimes you put a man.
That ski mask may be the reason that somebody did not notice them and did not open fire.
Sometimes people don't want to be seen. Sometimes you put a mask on to make you feel comfortable. You in your own little world.
Philly is all about survival. So I mean, if you don't know how to survive, then I don't know how you're gonna live in Philly for real.
Putting an affirmative.
All right, so first and foremost, there need to be some other things that are addressed. The way that these young men are speaking, it sounds like they're in a situation where they're at war, where they're in a war zone. So maybe those things need to be addressed. The fact that they're looking at it from a standpoint where they're looking at the mask as a form of protection by not being seen by other young men like themselves. I don't know what type of complex that is, but that's a dynamic that is scary. So they're not even looking at it from a standpoint of being worried about somebody else who's approaching them with a ski mask. They're just concerned with, hey, I want to be able to hide and people not identify me. Crazy. They're acting as if they need to be in camouflage if they're in like an old school Vietnam war. Like, I don't know what it's a weird, I don't know. Let's keep going.
The bill passes.
In an effort to curb crime, Philadelphia passed a law late last year banning the wearing of ski masks throughout public spaces.
We move forward and we make progress as a people and city when we remove our masks.
Yet critics note there's no data that says banning ski masks will reduce crime. In fact, violent crime was down in 2023 as compared to 2022, according to city data. Property crimes during this same period, however, took off. More than 3 months since the ban became law.
Hold on.
Same 23 as compared to 2022, according to city data. Property crimes during this same period, however, took off.
Did
More than 3
y'all
months
see that
since the ban
report of stolen
during the same
vehicles
period,
is up
however, took off.
72%? Retail theft up 28%. Well, we know that people are able to just now run in stores and take out. We know what's going on with that, but reporters 72% up stolen vehicles. I mean, now on the other side, I guess you got to acknowledge as well that the violent crimes is down. You said it says homicides down 21%, non-fatal shootings down 28%, total violent crime is only down 7%. So that's a little misleading. The fact that the homicides and the non-fatal shootings are down, but you're highlighting it as 28% and 21%, but total violent crime is only down -7%. So my question would be like, okay, so what about the fatal shootings? Are those not down? Because you're only showing two categories. And this is just another example of how people use information or studies or charts to show something that may not tell the full story. Non-fatal shootings are down 28%, homicides down 21%. So what crimes are not down as much as that, to where the only total violent crime is only down 7%? Y'all get what I'm saying? Probably not saying it correctly, but it is what it is. Keep going.
More than 3 months since the ban became law, there have been instances of authorities asking residents to remove their masks on public transit, but police have yet to enforce the law or issue fines in public spaces, according to local officials. This has sparked both confusion and anger amongst residents.
There's a lot of...
And another question would be, how would you have data showing if crime goes down with a mask ban if you're just implementing it 3 months ago? Like, the data would have to show now, like, we'll look at this year now that the ski mask ban is in place compared to previous years. That would be my opinion, unless I'm missing something. Y'all let me.
Adults around the city who say, I do get a little weary when I'm walking down the street and I see someone walking towards me with a ski mask. And so what do you say to them who say, we actually like the ski mask ban?
Just because you have a ski mask, that does not mean you're going to commit a crime. And I think us putting a correlation between the two is definitely problematic.
Some residents told me the ban makes them feel more.
All right, so I watched this video one time and I noticed an interesting dynamic. I'm going to wait until the end of the video to point out that interesting dynamic, but I just wanted to say that, and maybe y'all will notice it as well.
More safe in a city seemingly struggling to contain crime.
When people be walking out here with the masks on, like some guys be trying to come in here, you gotta tell them no, because it's not comfortable for me or the clients.
But for others, particularly young people who often wear them, they say the ban compromises their survival.
I have a ski mask on. I didn't cause any harm to anybody. I don't plan on causing any harm to anybody.
Philly, you gotta pick your poison.
Like 19-year-old
Hold
Liam
on,
Watt,
hold on.
their survival.
Hold on. All right. Shout out to all my super liberals. I hope you're sitting down right now. Can y'all please look at these two young men? Please look at these two young men. The young men in the back. The young man in the back. Black hat, black ski mask, black jacket, black shirt. Remember how we had the conversation the other day as far as when we were on South Beach and women may be dressing a certain type of way and it's going to attract a certain type of attention that we have to accept and be accountable for. If I dress a certain way, then there may be a certain level of energy coming back to me. Now, I'm not trying to say that, oh, if you dress a certain type of way, you're asking to be sexually assaulted or you deserve to be sexually assaulted. No, what I'm saying is that when you put out a certain energy, you're going to get a certain level of energy in return. Whether that's fair, whether that's right, whether that's just, it's irrelevant. I'm talking about reality. If just like if you walk down the street, if you walk down Ocean Ave and you have a thong on and a revealing bathing suit, you're going to get different looks than if you have a bathing suit on that just covers you up more. It just is what it is. Can we just accept that? Like, I don't understand why, especially when it comes to what we wear in fashion, like you want people to look at what you're wearing and judge you off of it, right? Isn't that why we take so much time in what we put on and what we put together? So this gentleman, so just like I like to say that you got to hold people accountable in that regard, where it's like, yo, if you don't want a certain level, certain type of attention coming back to you, then just be aware of what you're putting out there and how you dress. I don't see the issue with that. Some people do. I would say the same thing to this young man, especially the one in the back that has on all black. Like, what is that synonymous with? If you're getting like, and I like to wear all black sometimes, you know, going out to the club, going to a lounge, whatever it may be. But this is different. This is different. I'm also not wearing a full mask and a hat to where you can only see the slit in my eyes. This is different. When you dress a certain type of way, bro, it's going to look like, and you know what's so funny is when you hear the music, you hear people talking about dressed in all black, going on different drills and all this type of stuff, right? So if you're wearing all black with a ski mask and people can only see your eyes, you have to understand that you may intimidate some people. And it may not be the best choice of clothing. You know, it just is what it is. Let's keep listening.
I have a ski mask on. I didn't cause any harm to anybody. I don't plan on causing any harm to anybody.
Philly, you gotta pick your poison.
Like 19-year-old Liam Washington, who says the ski mask is much more than a fashion accessory. He says it also keeps him from being a victim of mistaken identity, which he says could put him at risk of violence.
I really feel bad for these young men. And I feel bad for other young men that grow up in situations like this to where they feel that they have to cover their face in order to be safe, whether walking home from the store, walking home from school, just traveling on public transportation. It's really a shame. And I think that's where the energy needs to be shifted, in my opinion. Because they're talking about straight survival mode to the point where they don't even, when you're scared, when you're nervous, when you fear certain things, you're not going to be able to look at the other side of things, in my opinion. You're always going to be caught up in that fear. And that's what they seem to be caught up in. And I have empathy and sympathy for them. I just don't think that it's the right way to go about things to solve the overall problem. Putting on masks and saying like, hey, I'm putting on this mask so therefore I can avoid, you know, being seen by certain people. And when you think about it, how they're worried about mistaken identity, you're going to have more of a mistaken identity with a mask on. You know what I'm saying? But neither here nor there. I feel like this is a Band-Aid solution. Like, okay, telling kids that, okay, you can wear masks because it's going to be safer. You can blend in and not get shot by other kids your age. Like, that's insane to me.
Like, you got to either walk around and protect yourself or walk around and be a victim.
What prompted the ban was how ski masks have been worn by criminals at the center of multiple deadly shootings, including the death of 15-year-old Devin Whedon, who was on his way to school last May when he was fatally shot during a fight by 3 people, one of whom was in a ski mask. No one has been arrested or charged in the killing. The victim's father told me he supports the ban.
We can come up with a solution with this. I'll tell you this, a lot of crime will go down. Because you can't catch nobody if you don't see nobody.
But many teens say not everyone who wears them is a criminal.
So we're creating a situation where a subset of folks feel safer and another subset of folks are pushed into unsafe situations in fear. But whose safety is more important?
The official
I told y'all I'm gonna wait until the end.
Behind the new law says banning ski masks will make the city safer for everyone.
This bill was created because we can't just have no face, no trace.
So what do you say to a young person who says, I feel safer with this ski mask on. I don't feel safe without it.
If you don't feel safe without having a ski mask on, we have a larger problem in the city of Philadelphia.
My sentiments exactly. All right. So the interesting dynamic that I was talking about. Why these people always put me in these positions to get canceled? All right, I'm going in. Why is it always a black lady? And let me rephrase that. Hold on. See, let me ease up. Why is there a black woman? As I'm looking at this, I can't help but see that you have all these men, all these black men that are being honest, saying like, listen, this is an issue. When you look this type of way, you look threatening. When I see certain people, just whether it's the barbershop owner, whether it's the child who was killed, his father, whether it was the other gentleman that said, you know, when he's walking down the street and he sees somebody coming to him, across the board, you have black men in a city like Philadelphia who are saying like, yo, this makes you look threatening. It makes you look threatening. Young man, this makes you look threatening. When I see you walking down the street, it makes you look threatening. When you come into my barbershop, it not only makes me uncomfortable, but it makes my customers uncomfortable. But then we see a black woman on here saying like, well, what about my babies? You know, and I'm sorry, she didn't say that. This is what I hear. What about my babies' protection? What about their feelings? Ma'am, you're missing the point, in my opinion. They should not have to wear a mask to feel protected. If we need to do certain things within the city to create a safer environment, and one of those things these gentlemen are suggesting is taking off masks, then that will solve the overall problem instead of just putting a Band-Aid solution on telling kids like, oh, well, you know, even if as a man, I'm telling you that these people look threatening by dressing this particular way. Even if I'm saying that, well, no, they should be able to hide themselves in their faces, because if that's how they feel safe. I feel bad for Philadelphia, and I feel bad for anybody that has to grow up in a city like Philadelphia, to where you feel that that's a survival thing, that before you leave the house, can you imagine before you leave the house, you have to put a mask on as an 18, 19, 15-year-old, just so you can blend in and not be seen and not be killed, not be shot, not be robbed? Like, what type of world are we living in? What type of world are we living in? I'm gonna be very clear on it. I prioritize the overall problem rather than prioritizing what I see as a Band-Aid solution to it. So I don't know where y'all stand on it. Are y'all cool? Y'all voting yes or no on the ban? Are y'all voting yes, you think the ban is a good thing? Or are you voting no, they should be able to wear masks? I'm not with it. I don't like any mask. I was never a big masker anyway. So I don't know. What do y'all give me y'all feedback? Urs wrote facts. That's a sad situation. It's just a very bad situation. Banks require you to take off sunglasses and hats before you enter. Same should be required for the ski mask before you enter a business. As for out in public, what do you think? In malls as well. There's some malls that I've been in where you can't even have a hoodie on. You can't even have a hoodie on, or no, you can't even have a hat. I'm not sure about the hoodie. I don't think you can have a hat or a hoodie on, because when you have a hat or a hoodie on, you're walking around and the cameras can't catch you. All right, so my dad commented. So what did I ask? I said, so Dad, you're saying no to what? You're saying no, the ban is good, or no, the ban is bad? I forget how I phrased the question. Help me out a little bit. So are you for the ban or are you against the ban? That's maybe I should have worded the question like that. Are you for the ban or against the ban? But as you guys are answering that, I'm going to get into this next video. Actually, no, we're not going to do the video. Remember, we have to read it. So I got an interesting reading. While you guys are telling me, now I need that vote. I need y'all to get some food. Okay, so Dad, you're saying the ban is good. I agree. I was you were making me nervous for a second. I'm like, hold up, man. They done turned my dad into some, you feel me? Queez wrote, so my dad wrote the ban is good. Queez wrote, gotta stop looking things at the surface, have to find the root of the problem. I agree with that. All right, so I wanted to share with y'all a couple different passages from this book. Couple different passages. This was an interesting read for me. An interesting read. Let me read kind of a couple different paragraphs. I may stop as I'm going through, but it's pretty much just a page, so it's not too much. It's from The Law of Success by Napoleon Hill. But this, I tell y'all, I don't know what it. Okay, so Queez wrote the band is good too. All right, so we're on the same page. I don't know how I got to this chapter where we were kind of talking about war. Obviously, everything going on with Israel and Palestine is still Ukraine and Russia. And this book, which was written in the early 1900s, I believe, I can get the exact date for y'all later. But it's just funny how you're reading something from so long ago, and this happens a lot. I don't know if it happens to y'all, but the stuff that you're reading, it's like it just happens to be super relevant for the times right now. I was listening to. It happens all the time. I'm listening to Pac's song Changes, and everything that he's saying in the song Changes. I'm like, yo, is he talking about what's going on right now? And it's just funny. And I think it's good for us to always tap back in to how people were thinking 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30, 40, 50 and beyond, because we can start to see that a lot of these problems that we have, a lot of these challenges, they all just go in cycles. They all just go in cycles. And maybe that's why certain people can predict certain things happen. And so let me read this passage. War can be eliminated, not by appeal to reason, but by appeal to the emotional side of humanity. This appeal must be made by organizing and highly emotionalizing the people of the different nations of the world in support of a universal plan for peace. And this plan must be forced upon the minds of oncoming generations with the same diligent care that we now force upon the minds of our young, the ideal of our respective religions. The majority of the people of the world want peace, wherein lies the possibility of its attainment. In Schopenhauer's bitter, I'm actually impressed that I said that. In Schopenhauer's bitter arraignment of woman, he unconsciously stated a truth which the hope of the civilization rests, when he declared that the race is always to her more than the individual. So let me be very clear on that, because this is a topic that actually we've kind of discussed amongst my family. And I want to know y'all opinion on this. So hold on, let me read that again. See, I done lost my place. So he says that in Schopenhauer's bitter arraignment of woman, he unconsciously stated a truth upon which the hope of civilization rests, when he declared that the race is always to her, to the woman, more than the individual. In terms that are uncompromising, Schopenhauer charges woman with being the natural enemy of man because of this inborn trait of placing the interest of the race above those of the individual. So he's saying that, unless I'm hearing it, y'all tell me if I'm hearing it wrong. But when he says in terms that are uncompromising, Schopenhauer charges woman with being the natural enemy of man because of this inborn trait of placing the interest of the race above those of the individual. So women will place the greater, she'll place the needs of the greater overall race above, she'll prioritize that over the individual. And this study is saying that man looks at it more from an individual standpoint and in a current standpoint. It seems a reasonable prophecy to suggest that civilization passed into a new era, beginning with the World War, in which woman is destined to take into her own hands the raising of the ethical standards of the world. This is a hopeful sign because it is woman's nature to subordinate the interest of the present to those of the future. It is woman's nature to implant in the mind of the young ideals that will accrue to the benefit of generations yet unborn, while man is motivated generally by expediency of the present. In Schopenhauer's vicious attack upon woman, he has stated a great truth concerning her nature, a truth which might well be utilized by all who engage in the worthy work of establishing universal peace as a world ideal. The women's clubs of the world are destined to play a part in world affairs other than that of gaining suffrage for women. So there was another, There was another passage that I wanted to, so the book pretty much, There's another passage that I saved on my phone that I wanted to read for y'all. So first off, what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on that? And I'm going to read these other two passages to y'all. 1 second. So these are just very clear. The majority of the world, and I posted these, the majority of the world want peace. Wherein lies the possibility of its attainment? So that was one. And then the other one was, those who do not want peace are the ones who profit by war. So I threw a bunch of stuff at y'all. And I may have to acknowledge a certain area that, or be open to maybe I was wrong in a certain situation. Y'all tell me. I still don't think that I am. But when you look at situations now, and this obviously is from before, do you think, let me give you an example. Let me give you an example, because this is the example that I think we talked about on the show and that we were talking about at home with my parents. If there's a basketball game, let's say there's a game, and you tell me this may be a bad example, but in my opinion, I actually think the opposite of what he's saying. In my opinion, I think that men are more looking long-term for the overall good, or not necessarily overall good, but for what they believe is overall righteous compared to, let's say, their particular son or daughter. Now, let me give you an example before y'all bash me. I think that women, the majority, this is what I think, that you will always protect your cubs first and foremost, prioritize them in the moment, their protection over anything. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. In a lot of ways, that's an amazing thing. Now, let me get back to my example. If there's a basketball game and let's say a son or a daughter's playing, after the game, or let me give you a good example of this. There was a commercial actually on this. Oh, I wish I would have saved it. Where, do y'all remember this old school basketball commercial? Y'all got to remember it. Oh my God, if I could find it. Where the basketball player, he commits a foul or he touches the ball and it went out of bounds. And the ref is a championship game. So imagine this championship game, the player, he touches the ball and it goes out of bounds. So let's say my team, I touch the ball and it goes out of bounds, but the ref actually says that it went off the other team. And the player, being me in the commercial, tells the coach, like, coach, they made the wrong call. That ball went off of me. I knocked that ball out of bounds. It should be their ball. The coach, the referees made the wrong call. In your opinion, so hold on. All right, so for the commercial, yo, Queens wrote that ish was weak. So y'all remember what I'm talking about. But all right, so in that type of scenario, or in any type of scenario, matter of fact, there was another one to where it just came up. Matter of fact, we just showed an example of it where they didn't give a team credit. A kid made a buzzer beater. Matter of fact, all right, so hold on. Let me give an example. Whatever. The point that I'm trying to make is that, in my opinion, I think the father would be, more likely to say, like, yo, nah, that's the right thing to do. You got to stand on what's right. If you knocked it out of bounds, you said, now that's maybe a terrible example, but I also think that the mom would be more likely to say, like, don't matter. Nope, we leaving here. We won and we out. That is what it is. They made a mistake. That's on them. I just see that as being, I always saw that. I'm being vulnerable with y'all. I always saw that as more of a woman trait. I always saw that even when it came to, I'll take it even back a step, even when it came to slavery. I don't know where I'm going with this, so bear with me. I always thought that even though the man implemented it, that in a lot of ways, the women more viciously condoned it, or I'm not explaining it right. But I just always had a feeling where man would be more so worried about, like, if your son had a bad game, no, he had a bad game, you know, it is what it is, he shouldn't be playing. Where the mom would be like, no, my daughter or my son, like, they should be playing. I'm explaining this in a bad way. I really am. I feel like I am, but I just don't agree. So maybe I'm just looking at it. They may say that, but what I will say is that what I do agree with what they're writing, Not only as far as that most people want peace, not only that, you know, the only people that want war are the people that benefit from it, mostly financially. But Queens got me. You see where I'm going? I think that women just being more emotional are going to be more protective and more focused on their family, their kids, their village, their community, their tribe, rather than the overall, where I think men would understand more from a logical standpoint, and just say like, no, you know, but I'm open to hearing feedback. I'm open to the fact like, yo, if I'm wrong, y'all tell me. But that's what I'm mostly getting at. Even from the video previously, where she's more concerned with, oh, you know, like, well, what about my kids' feelings? You know, the feelings of my kids that should be able to hide themselves in Philadelphia. I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent, so let me kind of try to bring it back. But I always see it as more logical versus emotionally driven. That's just kind of how I tend to see things. Was the conversation that we had in our household. My dad not helping me out at all, but it is what it is. Nah, I'm just joking. But either or, the last thing that I agree with the book is that I think women can have a huge role, just as they said, in solving a lot of the issues that we face, whether it's war, whether it's a lot of these other things. Because I do feel like even right now, y'all know I'm always talking about the men. I feel that we have the weakest, most easily manipulated group of men ever that don't stand on principle, that just allow things to happen, that just go with the flow. Like, y'all know how I feel about men right now. So I do feel that women can play, or maybe it's needed for women to play a strong role in getting our minds right. I don't know. It's a shame that we have to even say that, because it shouldn't be on a woman to get a man's mind right, but it's just where we are in society right now. Sad to say, but I don't know. But I do agree that there's a strong role. So I'm not trying to take away at all. I want to make sure that I'm clear on that. Not trying to take away from it at all. I just always looked at it that a woman will make sure that she takes care of her own no matter what. That's her cubs. Those are her tribe. She's worried about them first and foremost, always prioritizing them, compared to, I just saw it a little bit different in a man. So neither here nor there. Maybe I'll get canceled for that. Hopefully not. But now, okay, so I want to get into this. So my buddy Pete the Noble, he sent me this article, and the article is going to be described in this video that I'm getting ready to share with y'all. I didn't know that there was such a big movement. I think now it's called Health at Every Size, HAES, but they call it like the anti-diet movement. And I'm going to play the video, but I'll give you a little bit of, well, matter of fact, let me just play the video. I'm always trying to give y'all, let me not give y'all the words or try to give y'all some bias. Let me just let y'all see it on y'all own. Here we go.
Dieting has been part of the American psyche for generations.
Resolution number 1. Obviously, we'll lose 20 pounds.
People constantly debating what you can eat and what you can't.
Here are 5 foods you should never eat if you want to lose weight.
But as more people are leaning into the weight loss drug frenzy, there's another social media trend gaining traction too.
You do not have to eat healthy in order to lose weight.
The anti-diet movement, the idea that you can remove shame about what you eat.
Take the what and lead it. What? Hold on, let's just see what she just said.
But as more people are leaning into the weight loss drug frenzy, there's another social media trend gaining traction too.
Sorry, I went past
you do not have to eat.
All right. Notice a couple things. She seems very petite. This seems to be a trend in society. Just as I said with the book, where the only people that like war are the people that benefit mostly financially from war. We have a trend of people that convince other people to do certain things that benefits their pockets, but puts other people at risk. It's across the board. We see it all the time with when they try to race bait a situation. Every single thing that you see on TV, they're trying to put us against each other. They're always trying to create, oh, well, this person said this. Oh, you should hate this person. Matter of fact, it's gotten to the point where I remember we were talking about on this show maybe a couple months ago where it was white people trying to convince black people what they should be offended about, as far as like, you should be offended about this. I'm like, yo, you don't tell me what I should. How are you gonna try to convince me to be offended of something? Whether it's something Donald Trump said or you should be offended by it. No. We're not falling into those games. We're not falling into those games. We've seen how all the race baiting, it fuels, because people are so triggered by it, and because people get so tied up emotionally into it, they always try to throw that race baiting thing to get us to hate each other. Why? Because they benefit more. Why? Because they know we'll be more emotional and watch more news stories about it. We'll watch more YouTube videos about it. All these different things. They know that race plays such a strong role, whether it's getting a white boxer to fight a black boxer, and they play up the Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather, or he called him boy. He called him, you get what I'm saying? It's always people that are trying to convince us to do something that's harmful to us, but benefits their pockets. And we have to be aware of it. That's all I'm saying.
Healthy in order to lose weight.
The anti-diet movement, the idea that you can remove shame about what you eat and still have some of the foods you crave.
I'm an anti-diet dietitian. Of course I'm going to tell you that it's okay to eat pasta.
A quick social media search turns up dozens of hashtags like no.
All right, so I recommend that everybody, maybe I'll put if I can find my phone, maybe I'll put the article. Where's my phone at? Whatever. Maybe I'll put the article in the chat, because this is really you should read this full article, because what it goes through is that pretty much I didn't even realize, and maybe this is why people say TikTok is such a big thing, but companies are using TikTok influencers in almost a way where we just used to see TV commercials. They're just using TikTok influencers, and I think they figured out a way to where you can pay less and get more in return. I did not know that that there was such a big thing, or that TikTok influencers played such a role in influencing people with different companies. Shame on me. But apparently, if you read this article, you have all these dietitians, people that are responsible for giving people advice that say, hey, you should eat this, you should eat that. Whenever you feel like eating it, you should eat it. Like, bro, you're messing with people. In my opinion, you're leading people down a path that is not healthy. And it's not fair, because you are healthy, but you're convincing other people that may not be as, it would be almost as if me telling, like me just going on and saying like, yo, see, you could eat ice cream. I ate ice cream all week and look at me. It's misleading, and it's not fair for people, in my opinion. And it's disingenuous. It's not honorable. It's not righteous when you have these people that are in shape and that people look up to for advice. It's like a doctor. And matter of fact, this is exactly what happens in healthcare. We hold these people up, whether it's a dietitian or whether it's a doctor, in such high regards to any bit of advice that we get from them. We accept it as like, oh, they're looking out for my best interest, because why would they put something out? This is their role. This is their expertise. Why would they recommend something that's harmful to me? But we see it all the time. We see it all the time in healthcare. That's why I'm always telling people, especially with these doctors, get a second opinion. Unless you feel that you need surgery, then you don't need it. You know when you need surgery. All right. That's something that my dad always, a great doctor that my dad went to, he said like, oh, well, when should I have the surgery? And he said, you'll know when it's time for you to have the surgery. You'll come to me. I won't be coming to you. I thought that was respectable. You know what I mean? Because you got to think about it. These people are all selling you something. Whether it's them trying to take money from a company like, it was all the cereal brands. So they were trying to convince people that the cereal brands are healthy, and they were fighting to have labels removed. Think about this. Hold on. Let me pull up this article. I took a screenshot of it. Where's my phone at? I don't know. I can't find my phone. Where's my phone at? Oh, it's in the book. I was using it as a bookmarker. All right, 502. Shout out to Nan. I got Nan as my bookmarker. All right, so let me read this to y'all real quick. So this is what they were trying to do. They're arguing. So the cereal companies are arguing that they want to remove the labels that show foods high in sugar, salt, and fat, because they said we're doing everything we can to prevent that from happening. Shaming is what I call it. They're saying that it's shaming people to just have food facts up there as far as sugar, salt, and fat. That is insane that cereal companies that we've trusted our entire lives are fighting for that. Do y'all understand the mindset of what that can cause? So it's unfair. Like you're taking advantage of a weakness, which in my opinion is disgusting. Like you shouldn't take advantage of a weakness. We should be honest with people. We should be straight. And even if there shouldn't be any amount of bag that you can take from a company that now has you compromising your integrity as far as people holding you in high regards as an expert, as being a dietitian, and now you've completely thrown that out the window just to receive money from a company and promoting their brand. Let's just continue with the video.
Food rules, no bad foods, and calories don't count. Now, an investigation from the Washington Post finds some anti-diet dietitians and influencers are being paid by companies including General Mills to promote sugary snacks and cereal products.
I am partnering with General Mills. Everyone deserves to enjoy food without judgment.
The Post investigation finding at least 10
Hold on.
With General Mills. Everyone deserves
to promote
Cookie Crisp, Trix. What else did y'all see on there?
And cereal products.
I am partnering with General Mills.
Cocoa Puffs, like, come on. Come on. There's a lot of healthy cereals that we could be out here eating. Like, there's a lot of healthy cereals that we could be out here eating, but instead we have dietitians. It just goes to show that people will do anything for a check.
Everyone deserves to enjoy food without judgment.
The Post investigation finding at least 10 registered dietitians promoted General Mills cereal on social media in the last year.
And I'm sorry, I got to keep chiming in, but I want to be clear because there's a spectrum of all this, right? There's a spectrum of just because it's like there's not an either or. It's not either you shame the hell out of somebody and you make them feel terrible and you beat down their self-esteem and you do all this stuff and make them feel like they're worthless. It's like people are saying like either you choose that or it's like, oh yeah, tell them to eat whatever they want. Tell them to eat, the Trix. Tell them to eat all this sugary, high fructose, all this other stuff. It's not, you can have some type of balance in your approach. But what these dietitians are doing, let's be very clear. They're taking a bag of money and working with General Mills to give and spread terrible information that is going to lead to, let's be honest, these things cause people to die early. These are the leading causes of people dying. It's not fair. It's not right. I'm never going to be okay with this. Hold on. Let me see what Lana wrote. With AI, social media, and influencers, it's up to us personally to do our own research. Unfortunately, they are trying to drown us in propaganda dangers. I agree. It's definitely on us. Everything comes back to us. And this is why I'm sure Ursi would agree, where I do not trust my overall. Let me be very clear. I work in healthcare. I work with a lot of surgeons, not just doctors that you go see, but people that actually operate, people that you have to sign a waiver in order to go under. And part of that waiver says, hey, one of the risks is death when you go through this procedure because you're going under anesthesia. So I work with these people and I'm telling you, I do not trust them. That's my general rule. I have exceptions. My general rule is I do not fully trust people. I'm never going to trust somebody that's giving me information or that them providing a surgery is putting money in their pocket. They need to do surgery on people like me in order to put food on the table. Now, like I said, I have my exceptions. And that is one of the biggest reasons why we're in Miami and we're looking to open up, and we're getting ready to open up a wellness center. Because when you're in the healthcare industry for such a long time, you realize the BS that it's filled with. I do not trust I trust a doctor just like I trust anybody else giving me information. I'm going to do exactly what Lana said. I'm going to do my own research, look it up, and see what's best for me. The same reason, so we may hold General Mills in high regards. Oh, General Mills, they got a heart on their box. We grew up with them. They also make Cheerios, you know what I mean? But what about all the other cereals that they're making? But we trust them. We have these brands that we trust, and we don't understand that, people will sell anything to us. People will sell anything to us, and there's a reason why we like to claim that we're the best country in the world, but for whatever reason, we have all these ingredients that the FDA approves for us, but you go to other countries, and those countries, even like we showed a video with Putin, where Putin in Russia, where they had outlawed certain ingredients in foods. But Putin, he's so bad, right? So everything that they do is bad, right? So we don't even consider that. But think about it. Why are so many other countries? Why do we allow the most amount of ingredients? We're the best country, but we allow our food to be the worst and to have the worst standards. Out of the first world countries I'm referring to. I don't know. Is that not insane to y'all? And let me be very clear on the doctors. Exceptions. Y'all saw Rob Canello. Well, I don't know if you were on our Wednesday show. Rob Canello tuned in. Exception. Mentioned Pete the Noble. Exception. These are people, Neha Pathak, my people that I work with. I've seen them in the office. I have a certain level of respect for them that I do not think that these are the type of people that are just operating on everything moving, because there's a lot of doctors that are doing that. There's a lot of doctors that are doing that because you may not know it, especially when you walk in with a certain type of insurance, that you walk in there, those doctors are checking your insurance. You know why doctors check your insurance when you walk in the office before they'll see you? Because they want to know whether it's a risk for them or if it's a reward for them. Now, what is a risk for them? Let's say I'm a spine doctor and you have an amazing insurance. You have an amazing insurance, and I check your insurance and I realize, like, if I do a surgery on them, I'll make $400,000. If you think I'm exaggerating, I don't know, look it up. So now I'm going to make $400,000 on this person because they have a certain level of insurance. So, I'm going to be leaning towards like, hey, yeah, you should get the surgery. It's probably not going to get better. You could try other things, but you're probably going to end up right back to me in a year from now. There's a small chance that you won't, but, you might as well just have the surgery now. Think about that. A back surgery. You'll forever be walking different. Your life is going to completely change after a surgery like that. Ask my dad. If he's on here, I'm sure he'll tell you. Your body's different when you have a back surgery. Any surgery. So now, let's say that's the reward. Now, what's the risk side that I'm talking about? When they check your insurance and it's like, this insurance doesn't pay. You know what their mindset is? And how do I know? Because I've spoken to them, because I hear them. You know what their mindset is? Oh, well, because this is only going to pay me like $2,000. Why would I risk doing this type of surgery when I could have a complication and then my malpractice is going to go up and all these things? It's just not worth the risk for me to do this surgery. This is how it works. And unless we wake up and realize it, we are always going to put ourselves in a position where we are the ones walking towards harm while everybody else is walking to the bank. We have to understand that. Like Urs said, capitalism at its finest. And Queez wrote earlier, TikTok needs a reform. That thing is dangerous. We got to figure. And you know what's so wild? It's like, this is what bugged me with I agree with you, Queez. And I'm going to take this down because I don't want people to think that what I'm saying is in response to what you wrote. But when we talk about censorship, during the pandemic, there were a lot of doctors, professionals that were giving their expert opinion. Now, like I said, y'all heard me, I'm with Lana when it comes to you have to do your own research. But when you have a government that is pushing one thing and talking to the platforms like a TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, to me, it's just, and you guys tell me what you think about this. And what's up, Lucille? It's good to see you. I see you on there. How's everything going? Good morning, family. God bless your day. Sending peace, love, and blessings. We miss you, Lucille. We're glad to have you back. But when you have these type of people that are convincing TikTok and everybody else to only put out this information, hey, if this doctor puts this out, then just wipe it off. Anybody that's not agreeing with this stance, wipe it off. So that's where we got to talk about when it comes to the censorship, because in my opinion, why are they not censoring this stuff? Why are you censoring a doctor that's talking about, yeah, well, you know, I'm not too sure about this vaccination. You know, actually it's shown this, or I think this about her, I think this about it, and I'm not on board with the mask. I'm not on board. Why are you censoring that but allowing this? Why are you censoring that but allowing these ingredients that we know are going to put people in an unhealthy position when the leading cause of death in our country is because of eating these type of foods? We have to ask ourselves, and the answer is what Alana said earlier. You have to do your own research. Whatever that research is, you have to do your own research so you can feel comfortable with your decision, because we cannot trust. I mean, look around right now. Who do you feel that you would even trust? Would you trust on either side? I'm gonna name both. And maybe this is why I'm more of a RFK guy, but would you trust? Isn't it strange where you can live in a country where you wouldn't trust the president to babysit your kid? Think about that. We wouldn't trust, and I'm not saying trust from a standpoint like, well, I wouldn't trust any stranger to babysit my kid. I don't think the family, like, hold on. Let me elaborate on that. I'm not talking about, oh, a stranger, any stranger. We would almost say that we don't even know if the president's, we've got to a point where you could say, I don't even know if the president would be capable of babysitting a child. I wouldn't trust that, my child or any child. Think about that. That's the position that we're in. So first and foremost, we can't just hold everything that presidents and politicians in general say in high regards. They are doing everything and saying everything just to get elected. We've removed all morals, all righteousness, all integrity from everything in our society. Everything. Think about all the things that we've discussed on this show. You think that if we had integrity and morals and principles in a society, we'd be talking about having a video talking about banning where kids only feel comfortable walking around the city with masks? Whether we talk about the type of clothing and how we dress out here, do we think that that's moving with, you know, honor and integrity, no matter how anybody feels? Do we think that a lot of the pastors, all the people that we used to hold in such high regards, are these people moving with integrity? We've removed all integrity. People can say what they want, sell us everything that they want, as long as it benefits their pockets. That's it. Let's keep going.
Some showing customized boxes with their names featured. A General Mills spokesperson told the Post it complies with federal regulations and works closely with a variety of scientific, health, nutrition, and other credentialed experts.
That's scary. So they work closely with a variety of scientific, health, nutrition, and other credentialed experts to ensure we provide accurate, evidence-based information. We already talked about these journals on another show, these health journals. Who pays for these health journals, these reviews? When people do peer reviews, when you review whether it's a certain medicine from a pharmaceutical company, whatever it may be, the people that fund the reviews are the actual pharmaceutical companies. You cannot trust these journals. You cannot trust these information. I don't care whether it's a scientist, whether it's a health expert, nutrition expert, or any other credentialed expert. We cannot trust them. They're going to manipulate any type of study, manipulate any type of evidence, do everything that they need to do in order to sell a product. They don't even care if they get caught. They'll pay the fine because they made so much on the back end. It's like, whatever, we'll just pay the fine. It is what it is. And who do we think's funding and I should say funneling money to the FDA? This is very simple. If you guys tell me, if you guys were running the country, if you were running the country and you were sitting down with somebody, the head of the FDA, and you were running a country to where the leading cause of death deals with us eating unhealthy food, the food that we consume. If you're sitting down with the FDA person, do you think that you would allow all of these ingredients that have been banned in other countries because they're unhealthy? Do you think that it would be a simple decision, right? Where it'd be like, oh, well, why is that banned in that other country? Do your research. Oh, it does this, pretty harmful here, it causes this. All right, we're going to ban that ingredient. We live in a world where they will just allow everything, call it freedom. And that's not freedom. All right, maybe it is your freedom, but freedom doesn't come with a certain level of manipulation. If people want to make whatever decision that they want, freedom, all right, you're free to choose. But when you manipulate people with experts, and when they're compromising their integrity to feed information to us, to intentionally mislead us, I think that that's wrong. I think that that's a responsibility that leadership, the government, whoever, and most importantly ourselves need to take ownership over in order to make sure that we're not allowing these type of things. Just my opinion.
To ensure we provide accurate, evidence-based information.
We have to take away this shame and blame that goes along with a lot of this idea of dieting.
More than 40% of adult Americans have obesity.
Obesity is a killer in our country. Is that true?
Obesity is currently our largest epidemic in our country today.
Registered dietitian Nicole Groman, who has a sponsorship deal with a wellness company, hopes dietitians would still post these anti-diet messages whether or not they're being paid.
I believe that they would be saying this even if they weren't getting paid by the brand.
Did you just hear what this lady just said? She believes that they would still be saying what they're saying even if they weren't getting paid. This lady is on the Today Show. How do we cancel certain people but not cancel? Out of all the people we decide to cancel, how do people like her go on the Today Show and it's all good, eat whatever you want to eat?
I believe that they would be saying this even if they weren't getting paid by the brands.
Is there a danger to this anti-diet trend?
The danger is if you only get your messaging from something like social media.
Well, Vicki, I mean, what should people keep in mind, especially if you're considering trying some of these promoted items or things, that influencers or influencer dietitians are suggesting?
Yeah, it's so important, first and foremost, to know who you are and talk to your doctor or a nutritionist one-on-one, not just listening to social media and thinking that that is the advice. And especially if these folks are sponsored, you want to do your research. And
doctors are sponsored. She's not doing enough. She's not even giving it to you real. She's not giving it to you real. She's telling you to consult with your doctor. I'm sitting here telling you right now. Just like the doctors, it's just in a different way. Have y'all not? I mean, out of all the shows that y'all watch on social media, that we watch on social media, are y'all not interested in the one? They just put out like 2 on the pharmaceutical companies and showed exactly how it works. The pharmaceutical companies sponsor, this doctor that I'm working with, come out to this expensive dinner. Come out to this expensive vacation. We'll call it a seminar and we'll just cover all the cost. So therefore you could just present for, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. And then for the rest of the trip, we just having fun. We're just doing what any 50, 40, 50, 60-year-old doctors do when they go away, right? We don't want to go down that path, right? Okay, then let's just keep moving.
Really understand where their messaging is coming from. Read the nutrition labels, as we've heard. And this idea that you can eat everything in moderation and listen to your body
It's great in theory. I think in practice, a lot of us need help, especially if you've been on a yo-yo diet, you have an unhealthy relationship with food. You have to deal with the mental hunger, the emotional hunger, and the physical hunger. There are multiple components to this. So going on.
I'm glad she said there's multiple components to it. There are multiple components to it, because if the FDA did a better job, instead of trying to work with a company like where you got General Mills on one end saying, we don't want to have to put a label that our product is high in fat, sugar, or salt, right? Okay. Then we got the FDA, who they're pretty much in a position. Hold on. Let me.
On social media and hearing someone say calories don't count, eat whatever you want, nothing is off limits.
Let her finish.
If you eat unlimited sugary processed foods, you will find yourself right where you.
No, I'm not gonna let her finish. I'm sorry. Did I lose my train of thought? No. All right. So then you have the FDA, where if they outlawed certain ingredients that was bad, then people would be able to eat more. There's a reason why people can go to other countries, have the same type of food, have pizza, have pasta, have beef, have all these different foods, but it not impact their health. It's because our ingredients are so terrible. Our ingredients, everything is processed. We eat so many different types of processed foods. We're not eating whole foods. So if you want to eat as many whole foods and, good, solid, healthy, organic food, you can eat more of that without it impacting you in the way that a lot of this other food is. So it's like when she says that it's not only the fact that we're allowing bad ingredients to be placed in our food, but now we're also doubling down on that and saying like, oh yeah, not only do we have bad ingredients, but now you can eat as much as you want.
You don't want to be.
Well, I mean, I think it kind of fails to understand the struggles that so many people have. It's like, if I could eat in moderation, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Exactly.
But a lot of us eat for various reasons.
Yes. What I learned from this is having support and professional advice is most important.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vic.
I think she's wrong. I don't think having professional advice is most important. We have access to information. This is not back in the day where you got to go to the library and go through an encyclopedia and try to figure out stuff. We may be the smartest people about the most irrelevant things right now in society ever, because we have access to just learning whatever we want by just Googling it, looking up this study, looking up that study, going on YouTube. We can actually learn from people even in real time. We can do these things. So therefore, I don't think you should rely on a professional. I think you should rely on yourself. This is exactly what Alana said earlier. Do the research yourself. What could be a better investment in your time, effort, and energy in researching than something that actually could potentially save your life? What could be more important? Is what you're doing right now on your job. Obviously you got a commitment to your job. You'll be there. Let's say you're working 8 hours. I would argue that, you need to take a couple minutes out of that maybe to look up some of this, or maybe on a lunch break, or when you get home, instead of watching that TV show, take 10 minutes to just look at some interesting videos. You do that every day and you will develop. I guarantee that if you did that, if you looked at 10 to 15 minutes of information on whatever, but let's talk about health and wellness, you will have more information than the doctors that you're going in then, because you want to know why? They go to school, they learn what they learn, and most of them are not constantly trying to learn new things in order to grow. They just want to know what they know, perform the surgeries that they want to perform, and move forward from there. All right, there's a reason. Why do you think when you go to the doctors that none of them talk about your mindset when it comes to health? Or I shouldn't say none of them, but maybe very few incorporate that aspect into it. Most people don't. Why do you think that most doctors, you can have a situation where you go to your primary care doctor? Has your primary care doctor ever broken down that the things that you're going through, you may be able to eat different foods, you may be able to take these herbs, you may be able to take these minerals that help? No, what they do is they give you the pill that the pharmacist, that the influential sales rep at the pharmaceutical company came in, made them feel good about themselves, made them feel empowered, they're going to give you that pill that the pharmaceutical company says, oh, it does this, 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 because it says it on the brochure. They're not doing their own research. The majority of people are lazy. They're going to do their job and do exactly what the majority of us do. Go home and watch Netflix. Go home and do what you like. People are not learning new information. People are not reading books. People are not doing these things. And I'm talking about the majority of people. Are there some? Of course. That's why I started off by saying I don't just blanketly trust any doctor. There are exceptions. Matter of fact, I was a little soft in how I just said it. What I first said was that I do not trust doctors. I do not trust doctors. I don't. Anybody that gets paid to perform a procedure, I'm not just giving you attention off the bat. I mean, I'm not just giving you trust off the bat. That has to be earned. And the only way that I can show that it's earned is in our dealings with each other and making sure that I do my due diligence and do my own research so that I'm asking certain questions. So therefore I can kind of understand and base it on how is he responding to me? How is she responding to me? What is the steps that they're encouraging for me? All right, come on now. Come on now. Most of this stuff is just pushed by attorneys anyway. I'm saying all this stuff. This stuff could y'all realize that me saying all this stuff does not help me when it comes to bringing in money, working with different doctors as far as what I do. But it is what it is, yo. I'm going to speak on it. It is what it is. Let's keep going.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11.
Look at Al, man. He looking good, man. I guess so. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, just look at this Ozempic craze. It's just a lot of things that are going on that, in my opinion, it makes me mad because I don't like when people mislead other people that may have a certain, like I don't like when people prey on other people's vulnerabilities. You know, there's certain things that I have certain vices. I don't want somebody coming in here convincing me that my vices are okay or that, yo, lean into your vices. Really? Okay. What if one of my vices is, it's like me struggling with being an alcoholic. It's, yo, go drink some more. Yo, lean into that. What? We would look at you like you're crazy. But why is it okay when it's in this? Whatever. All right, so let's get to something positive before we get up out of here. There was a positive video that I wanted to show y'all. Hold on. Hopefully I don't have to. Hopefully the whole server didn't reset and I can still go on my Instagram. May have to log in. Give me a second, people. Hold on one second. Are they really making me do this? Hold on. I may not play it. One second. Bear with me. Y'all know it logged me out of everything, so I gotta log back in. Usually my Instagram is, I don't even know my passwords and stuff like that. But hold on, let me see if I can send this a different way. Send share to. Let me see if I can pull it up. Did it work? Hold on. Oh, it worked. Hold on. All right, we moving. All right, let's get it. All right, so let me share this last video. I think this is important. Let's shift more to a positive focus, positive outlook, so therefore we could generate some positive outcomes. All right, let me see. Are you guys seeing this? And hold on, let me get to Lana's comment. So Lana wrote, healthcare system is skewed, especially when it comes to insurance. America is allowing poison on our shelves in our body and or hair products and medicines, not for our profit. It's across the board. Something as simple as, Lana, think about even with fluoride, like fluoride. I remember going to the dentist. My aunt was a dentist, my next door neighbors. Shout out to my aunt Judy. You'd cough. If you're from Montclair, New Jersey, then chances are that was your dentist. But so I remember going there and them asking me like, hey, you know, this is the fluoride, you want the fluoride free? Or I don't even know if they asked me, but I just always remember something being said about fluoride. And then I remember always seeing it on the toothpaste as if they're advertising something good. And that's that's how slick these people are. They will put something on there and say with fluoride, as if, and us being so ignorant, we don't understand the harmful effects from fluoride, which it pretty much just destroys your pineal gland. Now, most people don't even look into that third eye or, you know, understand what I'm talking about, referring to your pineal gland. But fluoride is not a good thing for us. But what are we using it every day? We're using it every day, and all it does is dumb us down. It dumbs us down. It dumbs down our spiritual connection to each other. It dumbs us down on every level. And maybe that's one of the contributing factors to why we're in the place that we're in right now in society. So I don't even know where I was going with all this, but yeah, I was responding to Alana. So I'm 100% on board with you. But what I was saying is fluoride free. Now, this is my aunt. She just didn't, neither here nor there. She didn't, as a dentist, tell me like, hey, well, you know, these are some of the side of, you know, these are some of the negatives with fluoride. You know, these are some of the positives where there may be, I don't know, maybe there's some positives. At least let me know. We're holding you in high regard. You know what I mean? And what I'm saying is that was never taught to them in school. And this is the same conversation that I've had with Pete the Noble. Matter of fact, I gotta have Pete on here to talk to y'all about it. Pete has told me just straight up, like, yo, I realized that my training as a doctor was incentivized by pharmaceutical companies and all these other medical device companies just to incentivize me to think a particular way about medicine in order to make them rich and not really prioritize the health of the actual patients. This is what a doctor's telling me about medical school. So y'all take it or leave it. Like, and this is another thing I don't understand. The actual doctors that do speak out, I don't understand why we don't get behind them. Why don't we don't take heed to their messages? Why we kind of just ignore them, you know, leave them by the way. I don't know. I don't know. But let's look at this last video to get on some more positive vibes.
Or think about positive outcomes. When you're overthinking because you're running endless negative scenarios. You are never running endless positive scenarios.
Never.
You never wake up going, my company's going to make too much money. Yeah. Oh my gosh, my relationship's going to go too well.
Yeah.
Right? You know, I can't believe it. I'm going to get too healthy. We're never overwhelmed by positive scenarios. We're always overwhelmed by negative scenarios. And so I started looking at this. Okay, what's going on in sense of the internal world of us human beings? And here's what happens. We fall into negative patterns, but we have to move into positive patterns. You do not fall into positive patterns. You do not fall into positive thoughts. You have to move into positive thoughts. You have to move into positive behavior. So if you're going to bring negative emotions, all you have to do is just slip into it and fall into it.
I really like that. We can fall into the negative, but when it comes to the positive approaches and thinking positively, we have to be super intentional about it. All right. It's easy to fall into the negative. Maybe that's kind of the theme of today. It's easy to fall into the negative. It's easy to, you know, accept. Matter of fact, I told y'all I'll finish it off in positive. Hold on. I wanted to show this lady. All right, so it is what it is. But I was going to say that it's easy to fall into that trap. And I was going to highlight, there was in that article that they were discussing in that video on the dietitians, they pretty much were interviewing a lady that went through the process of, you know, embracing the anti-diet. She gained like 50 to 60 pounds, and it led to a whole bunch of problems, mental and physical, that you can imagine. And she's no longer subscribing to that way of life. But I'm using that to make a point as far as if something comes easy, like there's a difference between flowing towards your purpose. And like right now, I'm moving in a particular flow with my purpose. I don't have to think as much, but the work is still hard. Like, you know what I mean? Like even the stuff that we're doing out here right now over the last couple of days, it's not easy work, but I'm just embracing the flow of it that as it aligns with my purpose. When it comes to something that is not aligned with your purpose, it can be very easy to fall into a trap and it can be very hard to actually do the things in order to turn that around. So a lot of times the things that are bad for us come easy. A lot of times the things that are bad for us tend to come easy because we've developed such negative habits around it, because we live in such an unhealthy society. So we just have to be more intentional about moving to a positive approach. So that's what I got for y'all today on a Hot Topic Friday. Of course, we're going to finish up with 30 seconds of just positive mindset. So let's actually let's continue with this nice gentleman that gave us some good advice. Let's continue with his energy and just do 30 seconds of being super intentional, of having positive outcomes. Think about a situation in your life that you may be going through, or something that you're kind of on the fence about doing, and think about it like this, as if everything's going to work out. How would you approach it as if everything's going to work out? This is the same thing we talk about as far as approaching the day as if your big break's coming today. So 30 seconds, nothing but positive energy, thinking about positive outcomes, regardless of the situations that we're going through. So let's think about and focus on that for 30 seconds. Let's go. One more breath. Get a nice deep breath in. That was a weak breath in. Oh, deep breath. All right. Yo, y'all know what it is. Strength and honor, onward and upward. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. We're here to elevate on purpose, both from an intentional standpoint, as well as doing the things for our community, our villages, our family that we need to in order to elevate them. And to do so, we need to make sure that we're holding ourselves accountable to become the best versions of ourselves. Get to that big bag, whatever you want to fill in it. Have the health in there. Get to that wealth bag. And let's make sure that we're always focusing on the North Star of purpose. All right. Walking towards our purpose. So with that, I'll see y'all. I appreciate y'all. Sorry again about the technical difficulties, but just appreciate y'all so much. Love you too, bro. Love you too, bro. I'll see y'all soon. Ew.